1, 2, 3, go!
New Year's Day saw some brave souls take a dive into Moses Lake for the 7th annual Polar Bear Plunge. The event supports the Grant County Animal Outreach, and organizers say this year's fundraiser surpassed the $4,000 raised last year as more than 50 people took on the elements. 77-year-old Reardon resident Doris Conahan took the plunge for the 4th straight year and talked about what it takes to get in the water.
Intelligence. No, it's because I said something to my family and they said, "Oh, you're crazy." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to do it." Yes, I am.
For anybody who has never done this before, what does it feel like when you hit that water?
Oh, it's really refreshing. It gets your blood going, keeps you alive. It's a challenge. Go!
In Moses Lake, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. More than 2,800 students are enrolled in the 7 schools which make up the Quincy School District. On February 9th, residents will decide to approve a $108 million bond designed to overhaul facilities and make the transition from elementary to junior high and high school easier and more efficient. The bulk of the money, about $80 million, would go to the construction of a new high school. The current Quincy High School would be remodeled into a new junior high school, while the current junior high would get a $20 million renovation to become a new K-5 elementary school. George Elementary School would get a major expansion of 8 classrooms as well as a new gymnasium. Mountain View and Pioneer Elementary Schools would also get new standalone gyms, which would replace older multi-purpose spaces which serve as a gym, cafeteria, and auditorium. To help offset a portion of the cost, the district would receive more than $10 million in state funds, and while residents, farmers, and business owners would shoulder the bulk of the tax responsibility for the bond, Quincy's data centers are covering 26% of the overall cost as well. Based on current property tax rates, residents would pay $1.89 per $1,000 of assessed value, meaning monthly rates could be between $16 and $47 on homes costing between $100,000 and $300,000. If approved, the bond would allow the district to restructure itself from 4 elementary schools which feed into the junior high and high schools into 5 K-5 elementary schools that would then feed into the new larger middle school. Those students would then transition into either the new high school or the high-tech high school. The restructure would allow the district to continue to grow with population estimates and accommodate an additional 500 students who are expected to be enrolled by 2021. Superintendent John Boyd said his hope is the voters see the bond as a long-term investment in Quincy's future.
We're working really hard in the Quincy School District. We just finished a new strategic plan, and we're developing very detailed plans to try to get our kids to achieve at high levels. We know that we need to increase parent participation and not just have conversations to our parents, but have a relationship back and forth with them. We know that we need the community to help work with us to make sure that our kids get wraparound services and can get their needs met, not only academically, but socially, emotionally. So we're building some plans, we're reaching out to our community, we're meeting with them and trying to get our whole community interested and involved in the education of our students. And Quincy's amazing. They support education in very high levels. So I'm absolutely optimistic that we'll get to a place where we can do that. And really the fourth piece to that whole puzzle is our facilities. We have to, if we're going to accomplish what we want to accomplish, we have to have our facilities match our desire for the education of our students. And that's really what's brought us here to this point in this bond measure.
In Quincy, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. Homelessness is an issue in almost every city and every state. On Thursday night, 4 members of the Grant County Homeless Task Force came together to raise money and community awareness for the homeless by spending a night on the street. El Sendero Pastor Mike Alvarado, Moses Lake School District official Dave Balcom, Moses Lake Police Chief Dave Ruffin, and Serve Moses Lake Director Tim Cloyd shacked up in cardboard boxes and sleeping bags in the parking lot at Penhalaric's True Value Hardware to get a taste of what the homeless go through every night. Cloyd talked about how the task force came up with the idea.
Well, the Grant County Homeless Task Force was put together to deal or to try to help the situation with homelessness in our community and throughout the county. And we felt like, okay, we could work towards some physical remedies, but it's really education for the community that's needed to help people become aware. There's a lot of myths and fears and misunderstandings, and so we felt like this would be a step for us to bring awareness, to kind of heighten the awareness in the community, and it certainly has done that. And with the addition of the warming center starting this year, we thought this is a good timing for us to bring that to light, to receive donations from the community, to get people connected to it in in a practical way.
While the guys hunkered down for a long night, Cloyd said what they experienced is only a fraction of what homeless people can go through every day.
First of all, in doing this, we're not saying that we know what it's like to be homeless. You know, we've dressed really warmly. We've got some comforts that way. So it's really not about us saying, hey, I know what it's like to be homeless and I can understand what you've been through. It's more about, okay, we need to take a step and help the community understand that it takes a whole community to help people that are in this place. And if we can take one small step to bring more awareness to that, well, we believe that everyone deserves that human dignity, no matter what situation they might find themselves in. If they are struggling with substance abuses or alcohol, they still need to be loved and cared for, and they need those basic elements. And we would rather have a person come to the warming center where we can develop a relationship with, hopefully, and when they're ready to make those kinds of changes and decisions, then hopefully we can help point them in the right direction. You know, it's true, we were actually pretty grateful last winter that it wasn't as harsh as previous winters have been. And so that we felt like, oh good, that gives us even more time to accomplish this. But we thought like, man, we've got to make that first step. That warming center became available, we really went after it. And so that's been a good, healthy step for us. You know, it's been averaging probably 11 or 12 people every night there. And so we thought, okay, we're going in the right direction. Let's keep this going.
Along with the Sleep on the Street campaign, the task force is doing the annual point-in-time homeless count next Thursday, and the warming center is open through the end of February. In Moses Lake, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. What compels a man to decide to take a very long walk? For Quincy resident and Marine Corps veteran Daniel Chism, it's to help his fellow soldiers through some of the darkest days of their lives. Growing up in Chelan, Chism enlisted in the United States Marine Corps after graduating from high school in 2000. In 2003, his unit Bravo Company 17 was sent overseas, marching from Kuwait to Baghdad, and then was based in Al-Najaf, Iraq for the next year. After coming home in 2004, Chism moved to Quincy and settled down with his two sons and his job as a journeyman boilermaker, but not all of his fellow soldiers have been so fortunate. According to a 2012 Veterans Administration report, 22 veterans commit suicide every day. In 2013, the website 22Kill was established to help bring awareness to the situation and build a network of veterans and community resources across the country. For Chism, he decided to take it one step further. Starting from the Grant County Fire District 3 station and with his mother and youngest son by his side, he set out on a 22-mile walk from Quincy to Rock Island, with each mile representing a veteran lost to suicide. Chism estimated the walk to Rock Island would take about 7 hours. By 8 a.m., he had reached the outskirts of Quincy.
So how's the first 5 miles been?
5 miles have been great. Kind of boosts up the pace after I hear a honk. I'm like, get a little bit more energy. But I was going a little fast, but I'm trying to pace it out. Kind of go fast on the flats and then slow it down on the uphills. But overall, it's just a bunch of motivation. And
By noon, Chism was out in the picturesque scenery of Grant and Douglas County. And just after 2 o'clock, with friends and family waiting to greet him, Chism made his way into Rock Island and his destination at the Shell gas station. His son Elijah deciding to join him on the last 100 feet, and the walk was over. 22 miles for 22 veterans who were lost every day. Afterwards, Chism talked about the experience and his motivation to give back and be involved in the cause.
I was always kind of, had my own depression issues and, kind of kept to myself. But after getting back in shape, it really brightened my feelings and, everything started feeling a lot better. So I had a lot more energy, both, mentally and physically. And I came up with the idea to, do a walk and tribute to my brothers and sisters who have lost their lives to suicide. I'll continue to do these things with the community, raise my awareness of, suicide, PTS, and TBI, educate myself, educate anybody else who wants to be educated, or the public. More stuff to bring the public aware of it, because it needs to be something that not just the veterans are aware of it, but it needs to be their friends, their family, veteran or non-veteran. Everybody should be aware of it. Then they know, what would be the triggers that makes their friends or family, uneasy or get down low, and then it's just we need to keep it consistent and active until there are none.
In Rock Island, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. Big Bend Community College administrators, professors, and students came together Friday to celebrate the grand opening of their new medical simulation lab. The lab comes with 2 realistic mannequins who can replicate any number of medical conditions. Lab coordinator Andrea Elliott talked about how the lab will help the next generation of medical professionals be able to treat patients.
This is really important. One of the reasons we are able to have this new simulation center is that we were approved for a Title V grant, and so that brought in a couple $1 million actually to set this up. Because of that, we have these simulators that can respond to any kind of situation. It's been really important. And then on top of that, we have generous donors that are contributing to this. We also are working with the fire department and Samaritan Healthcare, and they're contributing kind of to the overall experience so that we can make sure that our community benefits from all this equipment as well. We've already had Samaritan and Fire District 5 come and use the equipment and do some training with the equipment. So our hope is that our whole community is actually enriched by this new program.
At Big Bend Community College, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. Conditions couldn't have been better Saturday morning as families from all over Grand County and beyond converged on Oasis Park for the annual Lions Club Fishing Derby. The first casts went in at 6 a.m. and it didn't take long before kids were reeling in trout of all shapes and sizes. The fish were donated both from Soap Lake's Trout Lodge Hatchery and from the State Department of Fish and Wildlife, according to Lions Club officials. A couple of the biggest catches of the day went to 4-year-old James Henkel and his sister 11-year-old Cadence Henkel, both of whom were in town with their father on spring break.
Got him? There you go. Nice.
I got another fish.
Nice.
This is big fishy liver.
Each participant had their biggest catch weighed and measured, and the best fishermen took home prizes, including new poles, tackle boxes, and other supplies. Lions Club officials said the Derby has been an annual tradition at Oasis Park for more than 40 years and gives families a chance to spend some time together and learn about the joy and craft of fishing. In Ephrata, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. During his stop in Grand County on Thursday, Republican gubernatorial candidate Bill Bryant took a tour of the Wanapum Dam with the Grand PUD commissioners. Bryant watched PUD employees extracting young fish for safe transportation downstream and also got to see hydropower in action through the generators and the repaired spillway. Bryant said it was his first trip to Wanapum and he was impressed with how the PUD is operating and maintaining the dam. He said the availability of Grand County hydropower is a key selling point to bringing more businesses and economic growth to Washington State.
It's incredibly important. This is a green, renewable energy source. And if you're concerned about protecting the environment on our planet, you want to make sure that we have manufacturing here in Washington State. Anything that takes a lot of energy to be manufactured should be manufactured right here because we have green, renewable hydropower. Instead, we've got policies that are threatening to drive those jobs out of Washington State and into areas where they'll probably have their factories powered with fossil fuels. That might reduce our carbon footprint, but it's going to drive it up on the planet. We need to be attracting energy-intensive industries to Washington State because we have this green, renewable hydropower.
In Mattawa, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News. The Warden Cougars softball team made history Thursday night at home, completing the perfect regular season with a sweep of the Clay Elm Warriors. In their 20 wins this season, the Cougs outscored their opponents 288-27, recording 10 shutouts, including 6 in a row from April 23rd to May 7th. A big key for Warden's success has been starting pitcher Ilea Enriquez. The senior ace was named Central Washington B-League Player and Pitcher of the Year and is one of 6 Cougars to make the All-League first team. Enriquez said the team's success is about more than just what she does on the mound.
Everybody has their own strengths, and so we use that. A lot of girls have already played before in tournament ball, so they have that experience. And we all have our weaknesses too, but we back that up with our strengths, and we're a well-rounded team. Ever since I was a freshman, I've been ace pitcher. I've pitched all the way through districts and state, so I've been doing that for the past 3 years, and I've played tournament ball. So having that experience, I'm confident up there. I'm not, oh, I don't want to be in this. I know that I'll get it done, and I know that my defense will back me up.
Warden coach Wes Rickens earned League Coach of the Year honors in 2016 and talked about how his team managed to run the table.
I knew we had a team that could do what we're doing, but you know, there's a lot of ups and downs, there's injuries and stuff like that, and we've been really blessed this year not to have a lot of issues like that, and the girls have been really strong, and you know, we schedule a really tough non-league schedule. We play 10 1A teams, so we can kind of get some tough competition, and I think it's going to help us in the postseason, help us get a little stronger. going undefeated, yeah, that's just icing on the cake. You know, just we want to be playing well when we go into the playoffs, and that's our main goal.
With the regular season over, the Cougars set their sights on a district title starting this weekend in Ephrata. In Warden, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News.